I was 23 when I learned that the woman who raised me had been hiding the truth my entire life, and the real story was more devastating than I ever imagined. If this story shocks you, hit that subscribe button and stay with me. My name is Kate, and this is the story of how I discovered that everything I thought I knew about my identity was a carefully constructed lie, and how that revelation led me to a family I never knew existed, a love I never expected, and a strength I didn't know I had. This isn't just about betrayal. It's about what happens when the foundation of your entire existence cracks open, and you have to decide whether to crumble with it or build something new. So let me take you back to the beginning, or at least what I thought was the beginning. I was Kate Morrison, daughter of Linda Morrison, a real estate agent in suburban Connecticut who worked 70-hour weeks and came home smelling like coffee and photocopy toner. We lived in a modest two-bedroom house with cream-colored walls and furniture that looked like it came from a catalog that specialized in safe and forgettable. Linda wasn't warm. She wasn't the mom who baked cookies or braided my hair or asked about my day with genuine curiosity. But she was there. She paid the bills, kept the fridge stocked, made sure I got to school on time. I thought that was just her personality, practical, distant, emotionally unavailable. I spent my childhood trying to earn her affection. Straight A's? A nod. Lead role in the school play? That's nice, Kate. Art scholarship to a summer program? Don't let it distract you from your grades. I told myself she loved me in her own way. I told myself that some people just aren't good at showing it. But there was always this gap between us, this invisible wall I could never climb over no matter how hard I tried. I assumed it was my fault, that I was somehow unlovable, that if I could just be better, smarter, quieter, more helpful, maybe she'd look at me the way other mothers looked at their daughters. It had nothing to do with me. I was 8 years old the first time I noticed something was off. It was a Saturday morning in late October, and the neighbor's daughter, a girl named Emma, was having a birthday party. Her mom had invited me, and I was so excited I could barely sleep the night before. I remember putting on my favorite dress, this purple thing with a white collar that I thought made me look sophisticated, and waiting by the door with a wrapped gift in my hands. Linda was in the kitchen, pouring coffee into a travel mug. "Ready," I announced. She looked at me over the rim of her mug. "Ready for what?" "Emma's party. It starts at 10. Her face didn't change. "I didn't agree to take you to a party. But her mom invited me. She called you last week." "I don't remember that." My stomach dropped. "She did. I heard you talking." "Kate, I have 3 showings today. I don't have time to stand around at a child's birthday party." "You don't have to stay. You just have to drop me off." I said no. Her voice was flat. No anger, no apology, no negotiation. Just no. I stood there holding that gift, feeling the air go out of me. Emma's house was 4 blocks away. I could see it from our driveway. But Linda grabbed her keys and her briefcase and walked past me like I wasn't even there. I didn't go to the party. I spent the afternoon sitting on my bedroom floor, still in that purple dress, wondering what I had done wrong. On Monday, Emma told me it was the best party ever. I smiled and said I'd been sick. I became very good at lying for Linda. The second incident happened when I was 11. School picture day. Every kid in my class had shown up in their best outfits. Collared shirts, dresses, hair done, smiles practiced in bathroom mirrors. I'd reminded Linda about it for a week. I'd even laid out my outfit the night before, a blue sweater my teacher had complimented once, and the nicest jeans I owned. But that morning, Linda was running late. She threw a granola bar at me and told me to hurry up. "Can you braid my hair?" I asked. "I don't have time. It's picture day." "Kate, your hair's fine. Let's go." It wasn't fine. It was a mess, tangled from sleep, sticking up in the back. But she was already in the car, engine running. I grabbed my backpack and ran. When the pictures came back 2 weeks later, I looked like I'd just rolled out of bed. My hair was wild, my sweater was wrinkled, and my smile looked forced and miserable. Linda glanced at the photo and set it on the counter. "Well, that's unfortunate," she said. That was it. No apology, no acknowledgement that she could have helped me, no suggestion to retake it. I threw the photo away, But I kept the shame. I started doing my own hair, picking my own clothes, making myself invisible. If I didn't ask for anything, I couldn't be disappointed. If I didn't meet her, I couldn't be hurt. I built my entire personality around not being a burden.
And it was exhausting.
High school was my escape. I threw myself into art. Drawing, painting, sculpture, anything I could create with my hands became a language I could finally speak. I wasn't loud. I wasn't popular, but I was talented. My art teacher, Mrs. Kelly, was the first adult who ever saw me, really saw me. She stayed after school to help me build my portfolio. She wrote recommendation letters. She told me I had something special. "You see the world differently, Kate," she said once, standing in front of a charcoal piece I'd done of a broken window. "Don't ever lose that." I didn't know how to respond. No one had ever called me special before. Senior year, I applied to a dozen art schools. I didn't tell Linda. I knew she'd find a way to diminish it, to make it seem impractical or silly, or not worth the effort.
So I kept it secret.
I worked 2 part-time jobs, one at a coffee shop, one at a bookstore, and saved every penny for application fees. When the acceptance letters started coming in, I hid them in a shoebox under my bed. Rhode Island School of Design, Pratt Institute, School of the Art Institute of Chicago. I got into all of them. I sat on my bedroom floor with those letters spread out around me, crying so hard I thought I'd break.
Someone wanted me.
Multiple someones. I wasn't invisible anymore. I chose RISD. It was far enough from Connecticut that I could breathe, but close enough that I could still come back if I needed to. Not that I thought Linda would miss me. When I finally told her, she was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone. "I got into art school," I said. She didn't look up. "That's nice. It's one of the best in the country." I'm moving to Providence in August." That got her attention. She set her phone down. "How are you paying for it?" "Scholarship. Financial aid.
Loans."
She leaned back in her chair. "Art school is a waste of money, Kate." I felt that old familiar ache. The one that made me want to shrink, to apologize, to make myself smaller. But this time I didn't. "I'm going," I said. And I walked away. RISD was a revelation. For the first time in my life, I was surrounded by people who understood me. People who saw color and shape and emotion the way I did. People who stayed up until 3 in the morning debating the meaning of a brushstroke or the ethics of installation art. I found my people. I found my voice. I started painting larger pieces, bold, chaotic, full of emotion I'd kept locked up for years. My professors loved them. My peers respected me. I was good. Not just good, I was exceptional. By junior year, I'd had 2 pieces featured in group shows in Boston and New York. A local gallery owner reached out about representing me. I was building something. A life. A career. A future. And for the first time, I felt like I mattered. Linda never came to a single show. She called once every few months, always brief, always transactional. "Do you need money?"
"No."
"Okay.
Bye."
I stopped expecting more. I met Daniel at a gallery opening in Brooklyn. It was February, freezing cold, and I was standing in front of a massive abstract piece, trying to figure out why everyone was so obsessed with it. "It's terrible, right?" a voice said beside me. I turned. Tall, dark hair, glasses, wearing a navy coat that looked expensive, but not pretentious. "I didn't say that," I replied. "You didn't have to. Your face said it." I laughed. He smiled. "I'm Daniel." "Kate." We spent the next 2 hours walking through the gallery, critiquing every piece, making each other laugh so hard the staff kept shushing us. When the show ended, he asked if I wanted to get coffee. We ended up at a diner, talking until the sun came up. He was a photographer, freelance, mostly editorial work, but his real passion was documentary photography. He showed me his portfolio on his phone. Raw, intimate portraits of people on the margins, faces full of stories. "You see people the way I see colors," I said. He looked at me like I'd just said something profound. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about my work. We started dating. Slowly at first, coffee dates, museum trips, long walks through Prospect Park. Then faster. He met my friends. I met his family. His parents were warm, loud, chaotic, everything Linda wasn't. His mom hugged me the first time we met. His dad made terrible jokes and insisted I stay for dinner. I felt like I'd walked into a sitcom. This is what family is supposed to feel like, I whispered to Daniel later. He kissed my forehead. You deserve this, he said. I started to believe him. Daniel and I moved in together after a year. A tiny apartment in Bushwick with terrible water pressure and a radiator that clanged like a ghost lived inside it. But it was ours. We painted the walls. We hung my art and his photographs. We adopted a cat named Basil who hated everyone except Daniel. I was happy. Genuinely, deeply happy. And that happiness made the silence from Linda even more obvious. She never asked about my life. Never asked if I was seeing anyone. Never expressed interest in visiting. When I called her to tell her I was moving in with someone, she said, "Okay, be smart about it." That was it. No questions, no congratulations, no curiosity. It hurt, but I had Daniel and his family and my friends. I had built a life that didn't require her approval. Or so I thought. 2 years later, Daniel proposed. We were in Central Park, sitting by the Bow Bridge at sunset. He'd been fidgeting all day, and I kept asking if he was okay. "I'm fine," he said, smiling too wide. Then he got down on one knee. I don't remember everything he said. Something about how I made him see the world differently. How he wanted to spend the rest of his life, making me as happy as I made him. How he'd never met anyone as strong or talented or beautiful. I was crying before he even opened the box. The ring was simple, a gold band with a small, square-cut diamond. "Yes," I said. "Yes, yes, yes." He slipped the ring on my finger, and the small crowd that had gathered around us started clapping. We kissed. We laughed. We cried. It was perfect. We decided on a small wedding. 50 people, max. A garden venue in upstate New York, late September, when the leaves would be turning. I wanted simple, elegant, intimate. Daniel's mom immediately jumped in to help, enthusiastically suggesting florists and bakers and offering to pay for my dress. "Your family now," she said, squeezing my hand. I cried. I called Linda to tell her about the engagement. She answered on the fourth ring. "Hello." "Hi, Linda. I wanted to tell you something." "Okay. I'm engaged."
Pause.
"To who?" "His name is Daniel. I've been with him for 2 years." Another pause. "Well, congratulations." Her voice was flat, like I'd just told her I'd bought a new lamp. "The wedding is in September." I continued, forcing myself to keep going. "I'd love for you to be there. I'll check my schedule." "I'll check my schedule." Not "I'm so happy for you." Not "tell me about him." Not "I can't wait to meet him." Just "I'll check my schedule." I hung up feeling hollow. Daniel found me sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. "What did she say?" he asked gently. "She said congratulations." "That's good." It didn't feel good. He sat beside me and pulled me into his arms. "You don't need her permission to be happy, Kate." "I know, but I wanted it. I wanted her to care." 3 months before the wedding, I was at Daniel's parents' house for Sunday dinner. His mom, Carol, had made lasagna, and the whole family was crowded around the table. Daniel, his 2 younger siblings, his dad, his grandmother. It was loud and warm and chaotic. I loved it. After dinner, Carol pulled me aside. "Kate, honey, I wanted to ask, have you thought about including your mom in the wedding planning? I don't want to overstep, but I feel like we've taken over and I want to make sure she feels included." I smiled, but it felt tight. She's not really the planning type. Still, maybe we could reach out? Invite her to the bridal shower? I hesitated. I don't think she'd come. Carol frowned. Why not? I didn't know how to explain it. How do you tell someone that your mother has never shown up for you? That you've spent your entire life being an afterthought? "She's just not like your family," I said finally. Carol reached out and squeezed my hand. "Every family is different, but you only get one mom, Kate. Maybe this is a chance to build a bridge." Her words stuck with me. Maybe she was right. Maybe Linda just didn't know how to connect. Maybe the wedding could be a fresh start. So I decided to try. I called Linda and asked if she wanted to go dress shopping with me.
She said yes.
I was shocked and hopeful. We made plans to meet at a bridal boutique in Manhattan the following Saturday. I spent the whole week imagining how it would go, the two of us flipping through racks of dresses, her tearing up when I found the one, maybe even hugging me. Stupid, I know, but I couldn't help it. I arrived at the boutique 15 minutes early. Linda was already there, standing outside, checking her phone. "Hi," I said, smiling nervously. She glanced up. "Hi." No hug, no smile, but she was there. That was something. Inside, a consultant named Marissa greeted us with champagne and led us to a private fitting area. "So, Kate, tell me about your vision," she said brightly. "I'm thinking something simple," I said. "Elegant, not too much lace. Maybe an A-line." Marissa nodded, already pulling dresses. Linda sat on the velvet couch, sipping champagne, saying nothing. I tried on 5 dresses. Marissa gushed over each one. Linda stared at her phone. "What do you think of this one?" I asked, stepping out in a beautiful off-the-shoulder gown with delicate beading. Linda glanced up. "It's fine. Just fine. It's a dress, Kate. They all look the same." I felt my chest tighten. Marissa jumped in quickly. "Let's try one more. I have a feeling about this one." She brought out a dress I hadn't noticed before. Simple, elegant, with a fitted bodice and a flowing skirt. I put it on, and the second I looked in the mirror, I knew. This was it. I stepped out and Marissa gasped, "Oh my God."
Kate.
"That's the one." I turned to Linda. She was looking at her phone. "Linda?"
I said.
She looked up.
"What?"
"What do you think?" She glanced at me, then back at her phone. "It's nice." That was it.
Nice.
I felt something crack inside me. "I think I'm going to get this one," I said quietly. "Okay." Marissa helped me out of the dress, chattering excitedly about alterations and timelines. Linda stood up. "I have to go. I have a showing."
"Now."
"Yes, now." She grabbed her purse and walked out. No goodbye. No congratulations. No, you looked beautiful. Just gone. I stood there in the fitting room, staring at myself in the mirror. Marissa knocked softly. "Kate, you okay?" I wasn't, but I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." 2 weeks later, I was at my apartment, addressing wedding invitations. Daniel was at work. Basil was asleep on the couch. I was staring at the envelope addressed to Linda Morrison. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. "Is this Kate Morrison?" Me. "Yes, who is this?" Unknown. "My name is Patricia Callahan. I think we need to talk." My stomach dropped. Me. "About what?" Unknown. "About your mother." I stared at the screen. Me. "I don't understand." Unknown. "Can we meet? There's something you need to know." Me. "Who are you?" Unknown. "I'll explain in person. Please. It's important." Every instinct told me this was a scam. A prank. Something malicious. But something else, something deeper, told me to respond. "Me okay. Where?" She suggested a coffee shop in the West Village. The next day. I agreed. I arrived early, nerves buzzing under my skin. Patricia Callahan walked in at exactly 2 o'clock. She was in her late 50s, with short gray hair and kind eyes. She looked nervous. "Kate," she said. I nodded. She sat down across from me. "Thank you for meeting me. I know this is strange. Who are you?" I asked. She took a breath. "I'm a private investigator. I was hired by a client to find you." "Find me? Why?" "Because your biological mother has been looking for you for 23 years. The air left the room. "What?" Patricia reached into her bag and pulled out a folder. "Your name at birth was Caitlin Rose Harper. You were born in Hartford, Connecticut on March 14th. Your biological mother's name is Margaret Harper. She was 17 when you were born." I couldn't breathe. "That's not possible. Linda is my mother." Patricia shook her head gently. Linda Morrison is not your biological mother, Kate. She adopted you when you were 6 months old. But the adoption, it wasn't legal. The world tilted. What do you mean it wasn't legal? Margaret never consented to the adoption. Linda Morrison took you without her knowledge. I thought I was going to be sick. That's not possible. That's kidnapping. Yes, Patricia said quietly. It is. She slid the folder across the table. Everything is in here. Birth records, hospital documents, statements from people who knew Margaret at the time. I know this is overwhelming, but your biological mother wants to meet you. She's been searching for you since the day you disappeared. I stared at the folder. I didn't open it. Why now? I whispered. Because I finally found you, Patricia said. And because Margaret deserves to know that her daughter is alive. I don't remember leaving the coffee shop. I don't remember the subway ride home. I was holding the folder like it was a bomb. Daniel was in the kitchen when I walked in. He took one look at my face and dropped the dish towel. Kate, what happened? I couldn't speak. I just handed him the folder. He read through it, his face going pale. Oh my God. She lied to me. I whispered. My entire life, she lied. Daniel pulled me into his arms. I didn't cry. I was too numb. What do you want to do? He asked. I don't know. He held me tighter. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. I drove to Linda's house the next morning. I didn't call ahead. I didn't warn her. I just showed up. She answered the door in her work clothes, clearly about to leave. Kate, what are you doing here? I walked past her into the house. We need to talk. I have a showing in 20 minutes. Who is Margaret Harper? Linda froze. The color drained from her face. Where did you hear that name? Answer the question. She closed the door slowly. Kate, is she my mother? Silence. Linda, is Margaret Harper my biological mother? It's complicated. It's a yes or no question. She looked at me, and for the first time in my life, I saw fear in her eyes. Yes, she said quietly. The air left my lungs. And you took me from her. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? She sat down on the couch, her hands shaking. She was 17. She had no money, no family support. I was working as a hospital administrator at the time. I saw her come in, terrified, alone. She gave birth to you, and then she left. She didn't leave, I said, my voice shaking. You took me. She abandoned you. That's a lie. Linda looked up at me, her face hard. I gave you a life. I gave you a home. I raised you. You kidnapped me. I saved you. I laughed, bitter, hollow. You saved me? You spent my entire childhood making me feel like I was a burden. You never loved me. You never even liked me. That's not true. Yes, it is. And now I know why. Because I was never yours. She stood up. Kate, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You stole me. And you've been lying to me my entire life. I turned and walked out.
She didn't follow me.
Patricia arranged the meeting. A small cafe in Hartford. Neutral ground. I was terrified. Daniel offered to come with me, but I said no. This was something I needed to do alone. I arrived 10 minutes early. Margaret was already there. I recognized her immediately. Not because we looked alike, though we did startlingly so, but because of the way she looked at me. Like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment. She stood up as I approached. Kate, she whispered. I nodded. And then she started crying. Not quiet tears. Full, body-shaking sobs. I'm so sorry, she said. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do. So I just stood there. She wiped her face, trying to compose herself. Please sit. I'm sorry, I never thought I'd see you again. I sat down. We stared at each other. You look just like your grandmother, she said, smiling through tears. Tell me what happened, I said. And she did. She told me she'd been 17, pregnant, terrified. Her parents had kicked her out. The father of her baby had disappeared. She'd gone to the hospital alone, given birth to me alone. The nurses told her she needed to rest, that they'd bring me back to her. but they never did. She woke up hours later, and I was gone. The hospital told her I'd been placed with a family, that the adoption had been finalized, that she had no rights. She tried to fight it. She hired a lawyer with money she didn't have. She went to the police. But Linda had forged documents, manipulated records. By the time anyone took Margaret seriously, the trail was cold. I never stopped looking for you, she said. I hired investigators, I posted on every missing child forum, I called hospitals and adoption agencies. I never gave up. I was crying now too. I didn't know, I whispered. I know, she said. And that's not your fault. We sat there for hours. She told me about her life, how she'd gone back to school, become a nurse, got married, had 2 more children, my half-siblings, a brother, and a sister I'd never met.
They want to meet you, she said.
But only if you want to. I nodded. I do. Meeting my siblings was surreal. My brother, Aaron, was 20. My sister, Sophie, was 18. They were kind, funny, welcoming. They showed me photo albums, told me stories, made me feel like I'd always been part of the family. We always knew about you, Sophie said. Mom told us everything. We used to pray you'd come home. I cried so much that first visit, but they were good tears, healing tears. Margaret's husband, Tom, was gentle and warm. He shook my hand and said, "Welcome home, Kate." Home. I'd never felt that word so deeply. I invited Margaret to the wedding. Daniel's parents insisted on meeting her first, and the dinner was emotional and beautiful. Carol hugged Margaret and said, "Thank you for raising such a strong daughter, even when you couldn't be with her." Margaret cried. I cried. Everyone cried. When the wedding day came, I walked down the aisle alone. Not because I didn't have anyone to walk me down, but because I wanted to walk myself. I was giving myself away. To Daniel, yes, but also to this new life, this new family, this new version of myself. Margaret sat in the front row, next to Aaron and Sophie. She was sobbing before I even reached the altar. When Daniel and I said our vows, I looked at her, and I mouthed, "Thank you." She nodded. At the reception, I gave a speech. I thanked Daniel for loving me. I thanked his family for accepting me. And then I looked at Margaret. I also want to thank my mom, my biological mom, Margaret, for never giving up on me, for searching for me for 23 years, for loving me even when I didn't know you existed. I can't get back the years we lost, but I'm so grateful for every moment we have now. The room erupted in applause. Margaret stood up, walked over, and hugged me so tightly I thought I'd break. "I love you, Caitlin," she whispered. It was the first time anyone had ever called me by my birth name.
And it felt right.
I legally changed my name. Kate Harper, not Morrison. Linda called once after the wedding. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "Kate, I just wanted to say congratulations. I hope you're happy. I did the best I could." I deleted it. I don't owe her forgiveness. I don't owe her a relationship. What she did was unforgivable, and I'm allowed to walk away. Margaret and I talk almost every day now. I've spent holidays with her family. I've met my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. I've built a family that chose me, that fought for me, that loves me unconditionally. Here's what I learned. You are not defined by the people who hurt you. You are not obligated to forgive people who don't deserve it. You are allowed to walk away from toxic relationships, even if they're family. And you are allowed to build a new family, one that actually sees you, values you, loves you. I spent my entire childhood trying to earn Linda's love, trying to be good enough, quiet enough, small enough. But I was always enough. I just needed people who could see it. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, if you've ever been made to feel like you're too much or not enough, I want you to know that it's not your fault. And you deserve better. You deserve people who show up, who fight for you, who love you without conditions. Don't settle for less. My name is Kate Harper, and this is my story. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Please hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. I read every single one. And if this story resonated with you, Please share it. You never know who needs to hear it. Now here's my question for you. Have you ever discovered a family secret that changed everything you thought you knew about your life? Tell me your story below, and let me know where you're watching from. I want to hear from you.